This is part 2 training video on HLS on monster singing faces, the animation of lights that make mouth movements. In the first video, just to recap, we initiated an HLS sequence. We talked about DSP processing the song, which happens to be Michael Jackson's Thriller in this example. And we talked about and showing you how to load lyrics. From this point on, now that we have our lyrics loaded, we have some time positions within the song marked for our lyrics. Now we want to set the stage for actually putting some lighting into place. So we go over to Manage Channels. In the very first video, we identified 10 physical channels. Now, in reality, when you put up your display, you're going to have segments that make up your mouth. Those segments may be on one channel or they may be on many channels, depending if you're using incandescents, LEDs, or pixels. However many you choose, you'll be able to identify all of the channels that make up a specific mouth position. For the illustration of this training video, we're going to assume that there are 2 channels required to create each of the lighted mouth positions. And that's 2 channels. We're looking at 5 mouth positions on our display, which give us our 10. In order to do animation, though, we need 2 control channels. We come up here to hit Control. We need a word channel. A word channel is where we place the words of the lyrics. Since we have one face called lead, we're going to call this lead vocal. So in this channel, all of the words from the lyrics are going to be placed. We need another channel, which is a mouth position. This is where, we're going to call this lead mouth. This is where all of the visiums, those are the mouth movements that HLS determines are required to simulate or animate the mouth, where they're going to be placed. And we're all set. Now we hit Save Changes. Now we want to get some channels on in our screen editor so we can work. And we have a list of all of them. Now, the very first thing you want to think about is how you want them displayed in the sequence editor. Well, for me, I want the very top one to be the vocal, the lyrics. I want the one under it to be the mouth position. And then I want all the channels. Now, in reality, you probably don't want to put all of the lighting channels. They're just going to be standard old lighting channels. I'm going to display them as far as this training video, so you can see exactly and understand what HLS is doing when you work with the animation capabilities. So the first thing we want to do is reposition this. I want to make this one number 1 and this one number 2. So very simply, I can come over here to Order, and we're going to say we're going to start at number 1, number 1. Now I want to start up here and make these coming down. I want to start at number 3. So now they're reordered. I can turn around and click on the order, and that will reorganize the grid here based on that order. So now I have my channels exactly how I want them to displayed in my sequence editor. Now I'm going to select to work on all of them. They're all worked on. I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it all, and we're all set. Now let's just go ahead and pick that display to work on. Now we have our channels in our editor to work on. So we're getting close to start laying some blinky lights. So let's go back to the animation menu selection. Now we're going to go down to assign mouth positions to face. The phonic engine that's in HLS takes a word, analyzes the phonic makeup of that word, and generates close to 45 different phonemes. The English language can be recreated in phonemes, which is like 45 unique building blocks for the English language. Most people that do animation, Disney only uses, I think it's 13 or 10. I can't remember which one. Most of what you're going to see on the internet breaks down to this selection here, which you're seeing in my display. Recognized from AI to REST. These are pretty much the standard accepted mouth animation positions. If you purchase, I believe the name is David, he sells monster faces already pre-made. Some of the faces make up 5 mouth positions, and he automatically tells you how to equate the output of these phonemes to his mouth position, which we're going to do now. So in this test, or in this training, we had one face which we called lead. We have an AI phoneme, and we're going to map that to AI. We're going to map E to E. We're also going to map L to E. Now, again, this is the recommendation for driving the 5 mouth position monster faces that many of you have bought from a forum member that builds these displays. FV, we're going to map to FV. We're going to map MVP to FV. And we're going to map REST to FV. We're going to map O to O. We're going to map U to O, WQ, and WQ. So what we have done is we've gone from taking an English word, breaking it into 45 some different phonemes, translating those into normally accepted animation mouth positions, further reducing those to the number of mouth positions specific to your display, which we have here. We click OK. Let me just check to make sure FV looks good. Next we go into assigning the channels. So we have our word, which is our vocal. We now have correlated the phonic makeup of words to mouth positions. Now we need to connect mouth positions to physical channels in our editor. So we have a vocal channel for lead. We click and we accept our channel, and our mouth, and we take our mouth. These are the 2 main control channels. If you remember now, AI represents a mouth position. In order to illuminate that mouth position, we have to illuminate a certain number of physical channels in our display. This is where we assign those physical channels. We right-click on this cell, and we're just going to take the first 2 here for our example, and we're going to assign them to AI. We're going to right-click. We're going to take the next 2. And we're going to go right on down. We're going to simply assign these channels. Again, the number of channels in reality could be any number, could be 1, could be 50. Whichever is required for your display. What you're doing here is you're saying, when I get a WQ Visium event, I want to illuminate these channels. We have that identified. Now we can hit done. Last part, we go to animation. So we've created our vocal sheet. We've assigned mouth positions. We've assigned channels. Now all we have to do is place them. Missed something. Go back to animation, assign mouth positions. If you notice, the face up here is in red. That means it has not been quality checked and approved for animation purposes. So we click on it. If everything is correct, meaning there's no missing data, it'll turn green. Upon turning green, it is now available for animation. So now when we come to animation, place animation effects, now we have an accepted lead source ready for animation. And we can click OK. This is a dialog box that can be moved around. There are 3 columns. The first one is your vocal word. These are the words that come right out of the vocals that we put in. These are the positions. These are the mouth positions that are required to animate someone speaking these particular words. And these are the time stamps that we put in. If you recall in video 1, I showed you how to time stamp certain word blocks to your music. And it's there for navigation purposes. For example, right now we're sitting at about 1 minute. This is where Michael Jackson starts singing the beginning of the song. Let's say we wanted to move down here to where this position is, which is at a minute 12. Instead of using the scroll bar, all you have to do is right click and HLS immediately takes you right to there. We're going to go back to the beginning to do our demo. Now we're back at 51. We're getting ready now to actually start doing the laying of the words. Now in reality, I would not be looking at full audio. I would have used my DSP. I would have used a bandpass filter. I would have reduced it where I only hear barely what the singer is saying. Now, Al McPherson has shared what he does. He's got a lot of audio experience. He does not use desktop speakers. He recommends using earphones. He also recommends going into Windows control panel and use their audio mixer. Then you can manipulate the audio physically in your headset. I said headphones before. In your headset, you can change the gain. You can do some mixing. With proper adjustment, the audio can be extremely clear and you can hear exactly where the words begin, where they end. And by using the DSP bandpass function, you can remove a lot of the instrumental where just the voice is standing out. Instead of going through all of that for the video, though, we're going to come over here and we're going to assume, for instance, that this block right here is the word midnight. Okay? Just for assumption purposes, we're going to assume that this audio from here to here is midnight. So after we've listened to it, we've identified that midnight is going to start here. So what you do is you start drawing a normal effect selection block. And we're going to come over here. We're going to say, by listening to the audio again, the word midnight starts here and the word midnight ends here. So we've identified where we want the word. We left click on the word and now we have a cursor. I call this an animation cursor. It positions you within the text. Once you have a cursor position and a selection block, all you need to do is hit the space bar. We got to have focus on the window. I changed focus when I went over and clicked. So again, cursor's got focus on the main window. We hit space bar. What you've seen now is HLS has taken the word midnight, transferred it from the cursor, placed it in the vocal channel. It has also placed all of the visiums associated with mouth movements in the mouth channel, and it has populated all of the physical lighting channels associated with each of these visiums. The only thing HLS cannot do for you is it can't tell you where to place these visiums within the spectrum of midnight and how long to have them. Unfortunately, I can't generate the placement that easy. So that's left to you. What we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 effects in the mouth where we have these particular visiums. Now, remember, it's just an effect. So if you left click, it moves. And you can move this. And if you notice, as we move it, the lighting channels also move. We're going to place it there. Now we're going to want to make this mouth movement 2 time slices in duration. Now, if you click on it by default, if you recall, HLS movement says if you click at the beginning of the effect, you move the effect. If you click at the end of the effect, you resize the effect. The problem is we have a single cell effect. Under single cell effect, movement always has priority. So, how do you change the size of a single unit effect? You do that by holding the shift key down and left clicking. So we hold the left key down and we left click, and now it kicks us in the resize mode. Now we can resize it. So what we need to do here, and we are just going to left shift, we're going to assume that, I'm just showing you how to do this. I've made the assumption for proper synchronization of these 5 mouth movements within midnight that the first one is 2 time slice in duration, the second one is 3, the third one is 1, the fourth one is 3, the second one is 5. If you also notice, once we place the word midnight, the vocal cursor automatically moved down to the next vocal. It sets the stage for automatically dropping and. We're going to assume that this is and. So we're going to assume that that encompasses the word and. Again, and is highlighted. I have my selection block. I hit the mouse, the space bar, and is dropped. And we plop that. We do a shift, and we assume that that makes and. Now, so that is how you lay these out. So all you're doing is dropping words down, setting the duration and the position within the words for the specific mouth movements, and you've done animation. Now, let's assume that you want to remove something. You can delete anything in the vocal, and it'll delete. If you delete any of the mouth effects, they'll all delete. So I could turn around and right-click on and I can say delete that effect. I can say delete E, delete this effect. And if you notice, all the lighting channels disappear. I can also do a delete by putting a block around it and hit the delete key, and they all disappear. So just shows you how to do a little effect editing when you're dealing with your animation. That concludes the video training on HLS, on animation, on how quickly you can go from vocal text to lighting and controlling the mouth movements on your singing monster or happy Halloween or happy snowman face. Hope you have a very nice upcoming holiday and enjoy.